All right, good morning, everybody. Let's start with the mantras. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Par Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. अस्तो मा सद्गम्य तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्य मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गम्य ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 ॐ Okay, today is Thursday and we are studying Astavakra Gita, chapter 19, verse number 6. That's where we're going to start. So if you can open your books. Kva duram kva samipam va bahyam kva abhyantram kva va kva sthulam kva chva sukshmam swam himin sthitasya me. Okay. So rest of the book, this kva word is there. Kva means where. Where? Duram, distance. Samipam, near. Bahyam, outside. Abhyantaram, inside. Va means or. Sathulam, the gross. Sukshmam, subtle. Swamhimin, for me who abides. Sthitasya means abides. For me who abides in my own grandeur. Okay, so swamhimin sthitasya. Where is the distance? Where is the nearness? Where is outside? Where is inside? Where is the gross and where is the subtle for me who abides in my own grandeur? See, all these distinctions, near, far, inside, outside, subtle, gross, who is really recognizing them? The ego does. Because ego is the one which is looking out into this illusory world of polarity. So whenever the mind is interpreted, it's interpreting the truth. So it's almost like a misinterpreting the truth. Mind gets agitated. Mind gets to say, oh gosh, that is far. This is inside, that is outside. That's why when we talk about the tamsik of the mind or the rajsik of the mind, those colors, tamogun dims the powers of discrimination in the human intellect. And it ignores the truth. So to ignore the reality is the condition of ignorance. And ignorance is a quality of the mind, not the Atma, mind or the ego. And when the same mind or the intellect is veiled, it will project. It will give the fanciful imaginations, this world of polarity. And still it gets restless in the play of Rajas. And it distinguishes far, near, outside, inside, gross, subtle. Endless varieties of delusions. But when the mind has hushed, in the alert moments of intense listening, the veiling of that intellect is dropped. And the truth is revealed, and that's where Raja Janak is right now. The truth is the only thing he can see is the truth. Or you can say he is firmly abiding in the experience of the infinite self. You see, he is experiencing it. He is not imagining it. He is not just listening it, but listening to the Guru and bringing the awareness to that level, he can experience the truth. So he doesn't have any illusions of the mind, which were created temporarily before. Okay? So he says, where is that? There's none of that. All I see is myself, the reality, the truth. So in the next verse he says, Kva mrityu jivitam va kva lokaha kva asya kva lokikam kva leya kva samadhi va swamhimin stitasya me. Mrityu, death, jivitim, life, lokaha, the worlds, lokikam, the worldly relationships. Laya means dissolution. And then rest of the, you already know, the swamhimin, tasyami, and samadhi word, you know that, super absorption. Where is life? And where is death? Where are the worlds? And where are the worldly relations? Where is the dissolution, laya? And where is the samadhi for me? Who in my own grandeur abide? He says, all those things, where are they? They are not there. Because life and death, those are also the worldly fields of experiences. Right? Life and death, that is only for the body. There is no life and death for the Atma. Atma was never born and it will never die. Even the worldly relationships also. Because at the Atma level, we are all one. But only at the physical level, we call them relationships. This is mine and that is yours. Otherwise, there's no me and mine. There's only one. So worldly relationships, where are they? All these are interpretations, concepts of the mind and intellect. So when the ego lives in this polarity, it makes all these up. But when we are striving towards the spirituality, all this liquidates. All these objects, all this relationship. So the ego tries to reach a state of laya. Laya means it dissolves, where it achieves to a larger extent the dissolution of consciousness of the multiple world. The process of, there is a path which is called Laya Yoga also. Over there, the process is given or advised as a precondition before diving into Samadhi. In Laya Yoga, they talk about that. Like dissolve all of these lower attributes of yourself. So ego ends in the infinite flare of enlightenment. And King Janak, he has already gained this goal. He has established himself in the self. And that's why he's wondering, where is all this? Where is even Samadhi? Where is Laya? Where is death? Where is life? He says, I don't see any of that. All I see is the self everywhere. Alam trivarag kathyaha yogasya kathyaha api alam Alam vigyan kathya vishrantasya mam atmane. Alam means needless. Three varga kathya, of talking about the three ends of life. Yogasya, of yoga. Kathya, of talking. Api means even. Again, alam means needless. Alam vigyan kathya, needless to talk about the direct knowledge. Vishrantasya, reposing. Mam means my, atmani, in the self. For me, who repose in the self, talk about the three goals of life is useless. Talking about that is useless. Three goals of life. Three varg kathya. Talks about the path of yoga is purposeless. I have already walked on the path. There's no need to talk about it. I have reached the goal. And even talks about direct knowledge is needless. So what he's saying, all these means, they were important, but they were only means. I have reached the goal. So talking about that now is useless, he says. When we already know how to speak and write nicely in any language, knowing the alphabet again or reciting the alphabet every day is useless. We have done our part. We know what we want to do with the alphabet now. The shoreless peace and the boundless contentment he is experiencing as a self-realized person. That is his divine sense of fulfillment, which is being echoed in this brilliant verse. He's almost concluding his autobiography with this verse. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this three varga kathya, three goals. What are three goals? These are dharma, artha, and kam. Okay, three goals of life. See, we got to live our life while keeping these three goals in mind. But when we have reached moksha, these three don't even matter. Okay, so these are the three, dharma, artha, and kam. And then the yogic practices. Direct experience in samadhi. These are all means for the realization of the self. So the person who has already realized the means or the goal, means are no more any significance to that person. It's almost like if I need to cross the lake and I have a boat is just to cross. Once I have crossed, if I still carry the boat on my head, that's useless. Boat is needed only in the water to cross that lake. So the experience of the self is self-sufficient unto itself. It needs nothing else to complete. It is absolute in its perfection. Okay, so this is what he's trying to point it out to us. It's not that we don't need it right now. Right now we are not there. So we need these means. We need to make sure that we are on the path of dharma. We are doing our duties. We need to make sure that we keep on doing our sadhana. But once we have merged, then what is the use of all that? That's what he's talking about. Okay, so this ends chapter 19. Any question, comment? So last chapter, chapter 20. Again, this chapter is spoken by King Janaka. See, the Guru has taught whatever he needed to teach. This is the student's turn to tell us where he is. He is telling us also, he is telling his teacher also. So in this concluding chapter, the absolute state of transcendence is brought home to us. Okay? It's again the autobiodata of the liberated in life. It's similar to the last chapter. Autobiography of a saint, the liberated in life, King Janak himself. The absolute self with no relationship with anything is the subtle theme of this sacred chapter. Okay? It's one, no relationship. So we'll see a lot of contradiction again. Through the contradiction, he is telling us where our mind should be. There is a word Niranjan, that means stainless. There is another word we will see, Gat Dvand, beyond the sense of duality. Gat means gone. Dvand means duality. A roop, state of no attributes. See, roop is always because of the attribute. So, a roop, no attributes. So, these are some of the examples. And each of these terms must be considered as very highly inflammable when it comes
Harshji, can you see again? Gat Dwand means again, please?
beyond the sense of duality. Dvand means duality, right? Happiness, unhappiness, day, night, pain, pleasure, heat, cold, right? Gat Dvand, gone beyond that. Because Ashtavakarji also said earlier that the self is beyond speech. It's beyond understanding and even beyond contemplation. That's why it was very clearly suggested that to end meditation, in meditation, with meditation, is the highest fulfillment of meditation. To end meditation, in meditation, with meditation, is the highest fulfillment of meditation. So that means you are not meditating because of something, some kind of a end result for the ego. Meditation is the means and end is just to drop it off. Okay? Because a lot of times we just want to use our sense of logic. We want to reason it out. No. Ultimately, no reason, no logic. All you want to do just drop off. Or you can say that you want to transcend the mind also, transcend the intellect also, transcend the ego also. That's why it said that with meditation is the highest fulfillment of the meditation. So we got to learn the art of discarding all of this. All of this means even that I am meditating. Discard that also. So intellect has to be transcended too. Then we'll feel the fulfillment of all of it. See, just like if we have a beautiful flower, when it's fresh, we see the beauty of it. We see the colors, vibrant colors also. We feel the fragrance also of the petals. But what happens afterwards? It dries up, curls up, and fall down. This is what this is too. This we do the meditation, but ultimately this Atma just merges with the Paramatma. Everything dries up, curls up, falls down, perishes. See, to the flower, what happened? Flower perishes into the emergence of the fruit. Have you seen that? Beautiful tree, the flowers, even the small flowers of that, what do we call it? Over here we have crab apples. What happens? Those delicate flowers, they look so beautiful. Then they just give the fragrance, then they fall. Then what comes? The little fruit. The same thing happens in our personality too. So whatever he talked about earlier, studying also, all the sadhana also, all the seva also, that is all to, that is like a blossoming of these flowers. And once we detach from that flower also, the fruit come, and the fruit is the one which emerges out and becomes one with the infinite. Do not get attached to that curled up petals. So transcending the intellect stretches the dimensionless infinite peace, infinite beauty. And Astavakra ji has given us the techniques, sure, through Janak, but for us also, it's not something just to read. It's not something to just recite. Ultimately, it has to be lived. This is for our sadhana. Now, King Janaki says in the first verse of this last chapter, Kva bhutani, kva deha, va kva indriyani, kva va mana, kva shunyam, kva cha nirashyam matsavrupe niranjane. Again, kva means where? Bhutani. The elements, those great elements, 5 great elements. I'm sure you're all familiar with those. Earth, water, fire, air, space. Even those, he says, where are they? Kuva deha, where is this body? Kuva indriyani, the organs. And kuva va mana, mana means the mind. Shunyam, void. Nirashyam, despair. Mat savrupe, in my essential nature. Mat savrup. Niranjane, stainless. So Janakji is saying, where are the 5 great elements? And where is the body? Where are the organs and where is the mind? Where is the void, the shunya? And where is the despair for me? Why? Who am by nature stainless? That is my Savrup, stainless. Because whenever we have any of the others there, there's a stain. Anjan. So he says, I am Niranjan. So King Janak, in all these verses, there are 14 verses in this chapter. Again, he's giving us the autobiography of the liberated in life in him. He is talking from his own experience. Because nobody can write the story of a saint. Biography of a sage at best is the description of the physical beauty of a singer the grace which is being enchanted. It's almost like a very inspiring piece of poetry. And only he can say that, nobody else can say that. Because he is saying it from his own awakened state of the self. And we can see that he says, I have transcended all the relative planes. There are neither the 5 elements, because this body is made up of 5 elements. So they are not there. Because you don't identify, he's not identifying with the body. So he says, I'm not that. And neither are the organs of perception, nor the instrument of the action. So when he says indriya, that means the karma indriya also and the gyan indriya also. And then he goes even beyond, he says, nor the mind. Because mind is built up by our own perception. Our responses, if the elements are the cause, body is their effect. And if the sense organs are the cause, mind is its effect. So they are all related. He says, I'm neither one of them. He's denying it. So Janak is denying the cause and effect relationship between the elements and the body and between the sense organs and the mind. Then he talks about with all the effects eliminated, the intellect can conceive only the void. Void is what? State of complete absence of things. That's void. See, just like the condition we experience in deep sleep, this void or the shunya has been conceived by a certain school of Buddhism as the highest state, shunya. But Janak ji, he is contradicting this conclusion also. He says, where is that? And where is despair? So he is saying that where I am, the state of total negation of both the worlds of the objects and the subject, the meditator himself. So he is almost like asserting that a man of realization rises above both the sense of void and its consequent despairs also. But then what happens? What is the outcome of it? He says, a serene repose of the stainless self. Is there a question?
Yes, Manju Malhotra.
Yes, Manju.
Please unmute.
Yes, sorry. Namaste. You mentioned the cause and effect, the 3 things. So what were those 3? One was the sense organs, and the effect would be
first I said the elements.
Okay, so what happens if you recall, elements are the cause?
Elements are the cause, body is their effect.
Okay.
Because body is made out of the 5 elements.
Okay.
And then if the sense organs are the cause, the mind is their effect.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So he is denying that.
And what about the action organs? You use the
action organs are just
elements.
Yeah, they are only in between. Action organs, we just act whatever we have learned through the senses. Action organs are outgoing. Just only relation in that sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So then ultimately I said with the intellect also, he is letting go of the intellect Because with the intellect, we think there's a void. Because who says there's a void? Intellect is saying. So he's transcending that also. Because there has to be somebody in there to say that it's a void. Shunya. And then he says, if it's a shunya, I know it's not a shunya. So that's why I am saying I'm not despair. There's no nirashyam. And then he says, I am abiding in Matasavarupe Niranjane, which is a stainless. It's a pretty deep philosophy given in this verse, actually. The self, that's why I said the self is the ultimate subject, where there's no object at all. Because in the realm of objects, alone can the cause and effect remain. That phenomena which functions. This is the cause, this is the effect. There has to be a subject and object. He says there is no object. It's only subject. So that's why these sets of experiences which we need to go through is kind of opening it up for us. So he says 5 elements and body includes all cause-effect relationship experienced at the body level. The sense organs and mind embraces all such relationships that are at the mental level, and the consequent despair can be considered at the intellectual level. Is it clear? Am I going too fast?
Hershji, I did understand some of it, but I still, I'm not getting why he brought despair once he said void. Why are we connecting those
I don't, because the reason he says despair, he says, I don't have despair.
Yeah, but as a statement, but when he doesn't have intellect, how will he have, he will not have despair.
Yeah.
But he brought that here again. Is it in connection with the void he's talking, or it is just a separate?
No, it's in connection with the void. Okay, if it's a void, nothing. Don't even have the despair. I am that stainless self.
Can you
That's
elaborate
all
on despair and shunya one more time?
Shunya is it's like an intellect conceives a void, like a state of complete absence of things. That's a shunya. That's why I gave you a little personal experience which we go through every day, the deep sleep, shunya. Okay. So then which other words you said? Shunya and nirasha? Nirashyam?
Shunya and void.
Yeah,
I want to understand void a little better.
Closest English translation of shunya is void.
Okay.
Okay, and that is coming from the intellect. Intellect is the one which is conceiving as shunya. Says beyond that.
So Hershji, that means intellect is still there, or
It's
if
not,
it is,
no, he says I'm not that.
Then who is perceiving all this?
Atma is.
Atma is saying that.
Yes, I am this. When we even visualize aham brahmasmi, who is saying it?
Atma.
Atma. Yes.
So the
that
mind
aham is the soul.
So everything else is dropped, the mind, body.
Everything else is just like I said that the flower petals, they curled up and fallen down.
Mm.
And the fruit is, this experience is the fruit. The experience of oneness with the completeness. Okay?
Thank you.
Kva shastram, kva atam vigyanam, kva va nirvishyam manah, kva tripti, kva vritashantavam, gata dvandasya me sada. Again, kva means where? Shastram, scriptures. Atam vigyanam, knowledge of the self. Nirvishyam, detachment from sense objects. Mana, the mind. Tripti, contentment. Vi, Trishna, Tvam, desirelessness. See, Trishna is the desire or the clinging in the mind. Gata Dvandasya, who has transcended the duality of the pairs of opposites. Okay? Me means for me, Sada means ever. So again, he's just putting these questions. Where are the scriptures? Where is the knowledge of the self? Where is the mind detached from the sense objects? Where is the contentment? Where is desirelessness for me, who have transcended the duality of the pairs of opposites? Because as long as we are functioning at the mental level as an ego, we really cannot avoid perceiving the world of polarity and the pairs of opposites. But a person who has transcended the mind, has eliminated the ego, no sense of enjoyership to experience the pairs of opposites. So from that state he's talking about. Because all the scriptural textbooks, you see, he starts with the scriptures. What do the scriptures tell us? They always address to the ego. They do tell us, let go of the ego, purify the ego, but it's all about the ego. Sense of doership, enjoyership. Because scriptures try to give the student a clear knowledge of the blissful and the perfect nature of the self. Whether we open up Ramayana or Bhagavad Gita or Vedas, they are giving us instructions. Do this, don't do that. Live like this, don't live like that. Instructions, textbooks. So he says, scriptures, they have done their part. So in order to realize the seat of consciousness, the scriptures give us the advice to detach our mind from the objects, clinging to the objects, reduce your desires, and have a steady inward gaze. But a person who has reached there, even this sense of contentment which he's talking about, or a state of desirelessness of the intellect. See, contentment is for the mind, desirelessness is with the intellect. They cannot have any meaning for the liberated person. Again, he has transcended both mind and intellect. This state is not for our intellectual appreciation, actually. It is something to be realized. This is something we need to work on. This is not something which we just intellectually ponder upon. And it can be realized only when the seeker accomplishes what these verses are screaming about. That's why he said the knowledge of the self does not lie in the textbooks or even in the Vedas. It is awaiting for us in the direct experience in our own self. No matter how great a teacher is, no matter how profound the books are, they are only the guides. They can inspire us, they can guide us, they can teach us. No matter how beautiful the temple is built, ultimately we have to experience this. That's what he's telling us. Again and again and again. Kva vidya, kva cha va avidya, kva aham, kva idam, mam kva va, kva bandha, kva cha va mokshaha, swarupasya, kva rupitaha. Vidya, knowledge. Avidya, ignorance. Aham is I. Idam means this. Mam means my. Bandha, bondage. Moksha, liberation. Swarupasya, of my essential nature. Rupita, attribute. So again, King Janak is saying, where is knowledge and where is ignorance? Where is I? Where is this? And where is mine? Where is bondage and where is liberation? Where is an attribute to the essential nature of my infinite self? All these terms which he's talking about over here, they are all valid only in the relative field. And where the mind is not, how can the ego perceive an object as this or that? Ignorance cannot be in the infinite knowledge. And knowledge itself cannot be an attribute of the self. Because all the delusions about the ignorance have ended. Ego as the subject that experiences the world of the objects, that is the expression as the I sense. Where the subject is, that subject ego, through its equipments of the body, mind, and intellect, must perceive, must feel, must think. So as long as the subject exists, there cannot be the field of objects, the world. So we got to learn how to transcend all these objects and experience the self. And if we can do that, where is the sense of I-ness then? Or this ego sense which we say I-ness or my-ness. It's almost like in our dream, we see something mine, something I. When we get out of the dream, where is that I and where is that mine? It has dropped down. It has really dissolved into that dream world. So the world of the ego and its behavior all are comprehended together by the term ahamta. Ahamta, okay? So this is a technical term. And all possible fields of experiences of the ego are together termed as idam, this. When we say this, those are the field of experience. This place, this person, this language, this, those are all possible field of experiences of the ego. So this whole world of objects is the field defined by the term idamta, thisness. So idam is this, idamta means thisness. So there's a ahamta, idam, idamta. Idam, the worldly experiences. And the sense of bondage when he talks about and the sense of liberation, they both are conceived by the mind. Mind turned towards the sense objects is the mind in bondage. And objects are not just the physical objects. Objects are the ideas also. Objects are the things and the beings also. These are all objects. Anything which is not a subject is an object. In this, philosophically speaking, even the weather is an object. So the sense of bondage and the sense of liberation are both conceived by the mind. Mind turned towards the sense objects is the mind in bondage. And that is what is sad and miserable mind, which keeps on going after the sense pursuits. It wants to comprehend, it wants to conceive. And then ultimately, when it gets sad, it wants to liberate. It wants to liberate from its own present condition. But a person who has transcended the equipments, this idamata, and has blasted the ego, and has rediscovered the identity with his like an essential self, how can there be a liberation? Talk about the liberation and talk about the bondage. Because King Janak right now he's talking from that ultimate freedom. We'll see that in Avadhut Gita, a thundering verse. Na jato aham mrito va api na me karam shubh ashubham vishuddham nirgunam brahmbandho mukti katham mama. The next book which we are going to start in a couple of weeks, he says, I am never born. Dattatreya is saying, God incarnate. Neither do I die. In me there is no activity, either good or bad. I am all pure Brahma. Vishuddham Nirgunam Brahma. Without any attributes. How then should there be in me anything like bondage or liberation? Bandho mukti hi katham mam. Where is it talk about that? I am not bound. Atma is never bound actually. Our mind thinks it's bound. Because we have stopped knowing who we are. We identify ourselves with the mind, we identify ourselves with the body, we identify ourselves with this intellect, and we think we are bound. The moment we start relating with our real nature, there's no bondage. That's what these great rishis are saying. Not just to say, this is the experience. Their experience, they see it. It's so clear for them. I just love this verse. Very simple Sanskrit, you will see that in Avadhut Gita also. Na jato aham mrito va api na me karam shubha ashubham vishuddham nirgunam brahmbandho mukti katham mama. It's going to be very easy for you, that scripture, even though some people say it's very difficult. See, just like this Astavakra Gita, it's not difficult. Language is not difficult. In fact, it's so beautiful, you just don't want to put it down. The same way that is true. Okay, but when we keep on practicing also, because we are not at the level where we don't need to practice or we don't need the scripture. We need the help of the scripture. We need the help of the practice right now. But when we are fully established in ourselves, then we won't need it. Then we will be living the scripture. We'll be living the truth. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying it and you'll enjoy that also. So we'll finish the scripture next week. I think, yeah, we'll try to finish it. So let's stop it here. Any question, comment, and your take on it. Like it, like it.
Hershey, I was reading I think the next book that we have of Eckhart Tolle, and the very first chapter he gives us his own experience of
Yes,
falling into samadhi,
yes.
and it gets me thinking. I don't think he had read too many scriptures or read anything when he read there right there. So I keep on thinking we are reading a whole lot of a place where we want to go, but some people just fall into it just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, you can drop it off just like that too.
Just like that.
There are people, let me tell you my own mother's story, because I knew her, I took birth out of her, and witnessed what was happening in her life. And I told you she couldn't even sign her name, never studied anything. But God would come and cut vegetables with her too for the ashram when then nobody was there and there were so many people all of a sudden came. Or when in the cold water in Shimla, she had to take care of 5 kids and in a water which was just flowing in a stream. She will go and wash the dishes also there, and she will wash the clothes also there, and gave us the bath also in that cold water. She said, God is there. God is doing it. She did not study any scriptures. She was.
So does sometimes the scripture make us overthink about things that
Yes.
we maybe
Yes.
are not that
Yeah.
good for us?
We cannot disregard the scriptures, because if we don't, where we are right now, we'll be doing something which will immerse us more into Maya. So this is at least a better place. And then if we just couple it with the sadhana also. Study. Swadhyay is very important part of our life. So Swadhyay, and then do the sadhana also. Okay, so we cannot say that we don't want to do it, they did it. No, maybe they did it before. They were born with it, all this knowledge. And we are just drawn towards it. So Poonam, I don't want all the people to just disappear, please. Okay. You're just joking. Yes,
they are getting addicted, don't worry.
No, just joking. So are you.
Raj,
Yes, Jyoti.
Raj Mittal.
Yes, Raj.
Namaskar, Hershji.
Namaskar, Raj.
Couple of things I want to say. One, it sounds like your mom was in total bhakti yoga. She didn't need anything else.
Yes.
Second, I have a question. Is it possible that when we finish a book, if we can spend one session on just the central idea, points to take home? So for every book in our mind, there are few salient points
Mm-hmm.
to remember. Just throwing it as a possibility.
No, that's a very, very good point. In our Zoom classes, I think this is the first book which we are finishing up.
Yeah.
So if you want to, just what I would like you to do, listening to Raj, just I'll give you guys a chance. And then I'll talk about it too, definitely. But go back to your notes. And anybody who wants to talk about it, just tell everybody else that what did you learn? Why was it important? And what you did not like. It's okay to say that too. But something which doesn't even make sense. Or something which was repeated too much, you didn't need it. So yeah, we can do that. Definitely we can do that. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Jyoti will just send a message maybe. So next week I'll try to finish this book, and then a week after that we can talk about it, and before we start the next book then. Okay. And the same thing we'll do with Ramayana also, because I think next book we'll be finishing up is Ramayana. Okay. So something.
I have written summary of Astavakra Gita.
Okay, so you can read that to us. Yes. So we'll use this the whole class, the participation like this. Okay. So yeah, no, good point, Raj. Thank you. Yes, Jyoti.
Pramila?
You want me to? Hershi, namaste, Hershi.
Namaste, Pramila.
You were number 3. You said something about subject and object, and I got lost.
Okay, always remember, subject is the Atma.
Okay.
Object is everything else. From this way, when we look at it, when we say subjective experience means experience of the Atma.
Okay.
Object is, see, normally we think objects are just the things outside. No. Everything is object when it comes to the subject-object relationship. Okay? And this subject is no different than the ultimate subject, which we call God. Okay? God is not an object. God is a subject. Subject is that power. Subject is that essence. Subject is that truth. Okay? So that's why I said the bondage and the liberation, that's towards the, see, when we say that I am bondaged, that means bondaged with the objects. Liberation, I want it from the objects. When there's no object, and when we have a clarity that objects really don't exist, then what is the question about the liberation and the freedom?
Can you give an example? I just didn't get that part.
It's okay. Don't worry. Just remember right now, just remember this. See, this is not something, it can be put into words.
Okay.
Just remember, in this terminology, subject is Atma.
Okay.
Just remember that. Object is everything other than the Atma.
Okay.
Just remember this much, you will see that. This is something, see what happens. In this sense, Pramila, there's higher degrees.
Yeah, and
because higher degrees, they taught you thinking in the linear way.
Yeah, I get that, but
that's why. But it's okay. Right now, just remember this, and you will see that it will come. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody else has a question, Jyoti? No. No question. Okay, Kamala, today is your day to say.
Rita has a question, sorry.
Rita has a question? Yes, Rita.
Not a question, it's a request. एक बारी आपने माता जी के बारे में बोला था, उनके last time के बारे में. So I requested, can you also sometimes गुरु जी के बारे के last time उनका जो था, अगर उसके बारे में बात करो, और इस समय हमारे पास break होएगा, एक किताब खत्म करी है और दूसरी किताब शुरू करेंगे. तो अगर आप थोड़ा सा time
Sure, definitely. Yeah, no, if there is an interest, I will definitely do that, because those are my personal experiences, and I don't want to talk too much about this. कई बार ऐसे लगता है कि I'm just talking about my own family, even though I don't even look at my parents as only my family.
They were not only your family.
They were not. They were not, but I just don't want to come across like I'm doing that. But definitely, when the time comes, I will talk about them. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kamala.
तेरे पूजन को भगवान बना मन मंदिर